Morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, September 29th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? The first card already dropped as I was getting ready for this read, and it is our Two of Wands in its transverse. This is not necessarily surprising. We saw this card coming through yesterday. It is going to have a bit of a different impact depending on where you find yourself in this collective right now. For partnered energies, we were seeing that there was some point of observation as it relates to planning. This could speak to some points of obfuscation as it relates to plans going forward. Having to overcome some of these hurdles has been some of the work that we've been seeing that the partnered energies have been trying to navigate. There could even be a lot of discussion about how to get one's own schedules and plans in better harmony at this time. Specifically because we did see this, especially yesterday, that for masculine and feminine, there was almost required a separation point in partnership. Having some issues around and feeling a sense of security or finding that point of stability in solitude. Feminine was almost moving outside of partnership to find some of that solitude energy yesterday, while masculine was potentially hitting some points of exhaustion. This is potentially having to address some of these circumstances or situations where you don't necessarily feel you have all the clarity, have all the optics, so that you can build a more productive path forward. Now, for masculine and feminine energy right now that is moving into partnership, one of the things that we observed was for those energies, there was a lot of conversation, not necessarily even about what was being disclosed to one another at this time, but the feeling or observation that what was being disclosed was going to require some level or degree of action or activity, specifically as it relates to outside energies. There was a point even yesterday that we did identify that while masculine was coming very forward and being very open to feminine, there was this feeling the feminine being a little bit more reticent, not necessarily matching masculine's own ability or degree of opening at this time. This could be masculine effectively pursuing that further, trying to understand and trying to appreciate and trying to get feminine energy to meet them where they are. You will recall, feminine, that I pointed out that if you are in a space or place where you ask masculine to be open to you, one, it was really important that you weren't going to effectively recant on that, feeling the emotions that you might have felt, because we did see that a lot of the feminine was feeling some period of overwhelm based on what the masculine was sharing with them. Also, we did see the fact that feminine was getting reticent in doing it in kind. So today we see the fact that some of these communication hurdles are being effectively looked at and analyzed, even in the energies moving into partnership at this time. Even potentially, again, more conversation about what to communicate outside of the partnership to potentially outside energies if there's going to be a move forward towards more divine union at this time. Now, for masculine and feminine energy in separation at this point, this is more of that communication hurdle that we effectively saw. For the feminine energy right now, we did notice that for feminine energy that received or saw some indication that masculine did not want to move into divine union, feminine energy effectively went through two different snapbacks that we saw. Because first we saw feminine almost like completely closing down, completely blocking, completely moving into a space where they did not want to see or be in communication with the masculine energy and that vibration. Immediately the next day afterwards, we almost saw the opposite happen. I even warned that there might have been some feminine energy that may have had to speak before they thought, because there was a lot of assertiveness that was coming through with the feminine energy over the last few days in terms of feeling a point of frustration or feeling like they were effectively misled in some capacity or degree. Feminine energy right now, if you're in separation, you're potentially feeling some of this stress or strain as it relates to communication and plan at this moment. This is that point of vacillation that we're effectively seeing for the feminine energy in separation at this time, because feminine energy, we are identifying and recognizing that you're in a space or place that feels somewhat frustrating at this moment because you are being effectively forced to move forward at this time. You are recognizing what it is that you truly desire, but you're feeling the frustration of the fact that the thing that you desired is not that you already know or have that observation in terms of who you would like it with, but recognizing that they may not necessarily be there. For feminine right now, this is creating some points of frustration as it relates to plans or planning, potentially even some listlessness or inactivity around this today as you sit in a bit of this vacillation point. Now, for masculine energy that is in separation at this time, this is going to feel on one or two different sides. For the masculine energy right now that is maintaining a level or degree of your own autonomy, you're choosing your autonomy at this moment, potentially even moving away from something right now. This is more of that uncertainty that we've been seeing as it relates to the last few weeks, the last week, as it relates to your own personal journey at this time, because you are trying to teach yourself how to do something that you haven't necessarily done in this way, shape, or form. There is something really valuable and important that you're effectively taking right now from the past experience that you're moving away from. Specifically, an observation and an understanding in the repetition of your own cycles and patterns. If something is feeling familiar right now, masculine, it's because you've effectively landed upon why. Your observation and understanding of the self at this moment is requiring some point of internal correction. But the problem and the difficulty right now is how to articulate upon that. Potentially how to effectively do what you are trying to do, i.e. potentially maintain your own level or degree of autonomy without misleading or disappointing anyone in the process. This is where we see that there is this bit of a blockage right now for the masculine energy that's in this modality or vibration. For the other part of the masculine energy right now, the masculine energy that has made the choice to come and move into divine union, this is that other aspect. This is the aspect of the masculine potentially recognizing who that individual is, seeing that, potentially even having to look back into the past and recognizing who that person is at this time. But this is simultaneously creating a bit of a blockage at this moment because, again, for the masculine energy that is doing this at this time, there is a point that you are trying to ascertain whether that energy is open or receptive to you in this moment, because you are seeing the fact that while there is a lot of activity around that energy, potentially even spending some time right now observing or looking at that energy in some capacity, you're also not necessarily sure if they want to communicate with you. You're not necessarily sure if there's communication is even going to be viable or possible. You're not sure if it is going to create a space where it will be received or if it's going to create more conflict in order to do so. This is that moment that you are also feeling some blockages right now in the realms of communication as you try to determine or you vacillate about what you want to say and how you want to say it. Second card we have coming through right now in our 5-card spread for today is... we've got here our Knight of Swords in its reversal. This is coming through right now. This is more of that exhaustion energy that we effectively saw was happening right now with the masculine collective from yesterday. Yesterday we had the King of Swords in its reversal. Today we've got our Knight of Swords in its reversal. For masculine energy in partnership right now, this is more of that like easement. This is more of that feeling. It's not going to feel as mission critical is what we're really seeing right now if you're in partnership, right? Because for the masculine energy in partnership right now, it's not necessarily even the fact, and you may even be recognizing this right now, masculine, it's not the fact that you don't want to go ahead and do something. You're trying to figure out the best way to go about it. Masculine energy right now, there is some feelings right now as it relates to some feelings of doubt or uncertainty. Again, this is potentially even related to situations and circumstances outside of the relationship. We've been seeing for the partnered energies right now, the masculine's been putting a lot of care and concentration, not necessarily even in the partnership itself, but more in the priorities right now that they're effectively waiting on. This could be effectively indicating that for energies that are in partnership at this moment, that there are some things that you're feeling some blockages on. You're not receiving or getting the full communication that you would ideally desire or aspire at this time. For masculine, this is having a toll on your overall sense of confidence at this moment. But again, for masculine and feminine energy that are in partnership at this moment, this is potentially an area that the feminine is working to support the masculine as you try to navigate these hurdles together. For feminine's part right now, you could just be observing this in the masculine and trying to do everything you can to give them support as you continue to do so. For masculine and feminine energy that is moving into partnership at this time, this is more of that energy that we're seeing of the masculine starting to pull back a little bit. We identified the fact that masculine noticed or recognized that something that they were bringing forth to the feminine as they were coming into partnership created this space that the feminine, even if they weren't necessarily open or indicating it, felt like they kind of withdrew. They withdrew a bit from the masculine. This is creating a little bit of that trepidation because masculine may even be feeling right now or feeling some worry or fear that they may have overspoke, that they may have overstepped, that they may have shared too much. And this is the masculine energy almost pulling back in a certain extent because they're not seeing the feminine energy open to the same level and degree of the masculine. Feminine is effectively not opening at this time because, again, this is feminine energy that is feeling very trepidatious. They're also taking in they're absorbing a lot of the information that masculine's giving them at this time to try to effectively like alchemize it into something that is productive instead of becoming a reactivity point, because the masculine and feminine energy effectively asked for this from the feminine masculine. For feminine right now, you are potentially also seeing this right now, and you are feeling the weight of your own ability to communicate in the same level of degree of the masculine. But this is nice because we're even seeing that for the energies coming into partnership, you potentially understand, feminine, why the masculine energy is withdrawing in this capacity. For some of the feminine, you can understand that this has to do with your own ability not to speak. For the other part of the feminine energy right now, you could be feeling a bit of this withdrawal. This is effectively potentially why. The masculine energy is feeling like they potentially overshared too much and they want to see it back in kind. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation at this moment, this is a moment that we are really seeing that this is creating a space or place that is creating a lot of communication hurdles. Feminine right now, you are feeling potentially the weight and frustration of wanting to communicate to masculine energy, but also feeling like you know and understand that you do not want to be the person to initiate that communication. Why is the feminine energy that is in separation right now not wanting to initiate communication? Because feminine energy effectively remembers and is continuing to hold to this point that a masculine energy that wants to come into divine partnership cannot be dragged into divine partnership. Feminine cannot chase after the masculine and grab them and say, hey, come into divine partnership with me. Feminine energy is feeling the frustration and weight because there's a desire to communicate here, but there's also a frustration and recognition of masculine and feeling the weight and burden of a masculine that is not showing the confidence or the ability to come forward and communicate in this fashion. So this is more of that vacillation that we're seeing here that is occurring. Masculine that is in separation at this time, this is more of that moment where, again, either you are moving away from something because you are choosing your own autonomy at this time. You made some kind of choice that you wanted to maintain your autonomy, but is creating a point where you're not necessarily sure what to do with it. You're not necessarily sure how to approach things. There's something about the fact right now that you are effectively identifying and recognizing that you need to have some kind of course correction. You need to have some kind of change in how you approach things, but you haven't done this before. So this is that moment of you trying to figure out how to do that. For the other part of the masculine collective right now, this is you effectively wanting to go into partnership, having that moment, being able to come into that advancement point of wanting to move into divine union, but you're effectively recognizing and unsure if the feminine energy wants to communicate with you in that capacity. Potentially even doing a lot of work right now in terms of assessing and analyzing situations to see what that level of receptiveness is. For the masculine energy in this moment, you are also vacillating right now as it relates to communication, because while there is a desire to communicate, there is an anxiety in terms of how and what to communicate. Center card for today's spread for today is another transverse card. What do we have here? Oh my goodness, this is just coming through right now with a lot of some feelings of awkward. I'm not really feeling the most productive today is what we're seeing. For masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership, this is potentially going to feel like a bit of an easement day. This is just going to feel like, it's going to feel a little bit more frustrating potentially for the masculine, because there's something here that feels like it's on hold. There may even be a feeling right now as it relates to projects and situations and circumstances that there isn't much that can be done, particularly for the masculine right now, because we see here that there may be some situations or circumstances that are contingent on outside communication. So this is also why we see that the masculine is effectively kind of like taking this as a point of easement right now, because this is also masculine energy that we saw spent a majority of this week trying to push things forward due to this sense or this feeling of having some circumstances and situations outside the partnership right now that they feel they don't necessarily have a lot of power around. Masculine effectively pushed those things as far as they could from their own volition, and is now in that moment they're effectively waiting to see the results of that activity that we saw that was happening throughout the week. And it is creating this moment that may feel a little frustrating to the masculine, because there is potentially a feeling of not being able to push forward on something until you get some communication back in some capacity. The masculine right now is potentially continuing to feel a little bit disempowered in this level and degree right now. Feminine, you could be recognizing this right now with the masculine. You could also be feeling it as well. If you are in partnership at this moment, you're doing everything you can to support a masculine energy that is in this vibration potentially. Though it might make it a little difficult, because we also see that this is a little bit of that lethargy that we saw that was carrying over from yesterday in the masculine coming through today. Masculine and feminine energy that is moving into partnership at this time. This is that moment that is feeling like a little bit of a vacillation point. And I need to stress that this could be a moment that some of this energy that is trying to move back into partnership or union is feeling a little bit of stress today. Because what we're effectively identifying for those energies is that feminine asks masculine to come forward, to be open. This was the term and condition of the feminine allowing masculine towards them. Masculine did that to a great degree. Masculine did so robustly. Feminine pulled back. Feminine energy took what they were receiving and they were a little bit thrown by it. They were a little bit knocked over by what they were receiving. Masculine, even if feminine didn't articulate that to you, you recognized it. Similarly and simultaneously, you may also have been a little shaken because you felt like the feminine did not open up in the same level or degree as you did. A lot of this weight now is happening specifically in the realms of the energies that are trying to come into union and partnership at this moment. And I need to stress, we need everybody to not move in a space or place of triggers right now, because what we're really seeing is for the feminine, there is an anxiety in terms of opening up and sharing in kind. We already pointed out that this was a very trepidatious feminine. Feminine effectively got what they wanted from masculine, but they're still trying to effectively process it, potentially not necessarily even being sure what to say. Feminine energy also kind of had this moment potentially talking to masculine to say, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to solve these outside situations? What are you going to do to solve these outside circumstances? Feminine may even be feeling some point of anxiety right now because they're feeling that in some way, shape, or form, they're not necessarily seeing masculine act on what they feel that they need to do, having received the information that they received from the masculine today. So there could be, again, more calling the masculine forward and saying, based on what you told me, have you done X? Have you done Y? Have you done Z? Are you showing this capacity and degree of being able to do these things so that we can progress forward towards divine union and partnership? Masculine, you are potentially feeling the weight of some of this right now that is creating this point of anxiety right now, because again, you yourself are effectively potentially saying to the feminine, I am willing to do that. Are you willing to do that? Because the problem with the masculine right now is feeling some level of degree of feeling like feminine is not opening up in the same shape and form that the masculine was effectively asked to right now. This is creating a point of anxiety in the masculine right now that is simultaneously building into a point of frustration, because masculine is now asking feminine for the optics that they themselves asked the masculine for, to be able to ascertain if this is something that does feel equal or if it's starting to feel one-sided. So a lot of communication hurdles today, but they're going to be met with productive action and further communication and openness. For feminine, the challenge is going to have to be matching masculine's own level or degree of openness at this time, because we see here that the feminine is scared. There's fear here. Feminine's worried that opening up in this degree to masculine is also going to make the masculine move in the other direction. Working through some of these triggers today is going to be very important for the energy trying to come into partnership or union. Now, masculine and feminine energy in separation at this time, this is a point of deep frustration. Feminine energy is holding strongly to the commitment to themselves from the Venus in retrograde cycle, the lesson that was learned, that they cannot force, you cannot force an energy to move into divine union. Even if there was a partnership, it wouldn't be a divine union or partnership. It would be imbalanced if the masculine energy does not show this capacity or degree of wanting to come towards the feminine at this moment, that desire to come into partnership. Feminine is utilizing this as a moment that feels frustrating, but is creating a sense of listlessness in the feminine energy, because this is a feminine energy that recognizes that they need to look forward. They need to seek beyond to find this in someone that is open and willing for it. But at the same time, they're feeling the weight of the energy that they would aspire and desire to want this with them. Waiting to a certain degree to see if they're going to have some shift, to see if they're going to change their mind, to see if they're going to show that level of degree of capacity or ferocity or ambition in terms of wanting that with the feminine right now. So a bit of listlessness coming through right now for the energy that is in separation, if it is feminine. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. Now, for masculine energy right now, if you are in separation, this is more of that vacillation point as well. We see masculine energy falling in two different modalities right now. This is a masculine energy that has been working to maintain their own level or degree of autonomy. The problem is the way that you have been identifying or utilizing that, you are now recognizing is not considered productive or helpful or positive on the side of the feminine. You're even potentially having a point of observation in your own patterns right now that is requiring some point of recalibration. The problem for the masculine energy that's trying to maintain their autonomy in this degree is you don't know how to do it. You're recognizing that the way you did it in the past was not serving your purposes. You're potentially even moving away from something where you intentionally, or didn't, maybe not intentionally, but you now recognize, you see the harm of breaking the karmic connection created in the way that you may have typically approached something. You are committing yourself to doing that work to heal this. But it's creating a level of anxiety for you because you don't necessarily know how to carry both of this weight. How does one maintain one's own autonomy while still move forward in this way? This is something that the masculine is feeling a point of disempowerment on right now. For the masculine energy right now that is deciding or using this as a moment of advancing into divine union or partnership, this is simultaneously a moment that you may be feeling somewhat disempowered right now. Because again, we see you effectively vacillating. You're not sure if something can work. You're looking potentially even at past experiences, at past variations, something that you did not necessarily, you were not ready for divine union. You now see the person or situation you want to move in divine union with at this time. But there's something here that feels blocked, limited. You don't know if there's communication that's possible or how to do it. You're also feeling the weight of whether something can be repaired or if something is going to work. And this is further disempowering you to a certain degree. So some heavy energy right now, specifically for the separated energies. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is Page of Swords in its reversal. This is a lot of this this is like a lot of this like heavy energy today. Everyone's like losing their like oomph today. Okay. I almost like want to say that this is like some of this, like we just had this huge full moon in Aries and we almost saw the buildup on that leading up to it. We saw some of that aggressive, assertive energy coming in prior to this. This is like giving me a lot of like full moon hangover coming through in the clutch here. For masculine and feminine energy that's in partnership, this is just going to be like a day of like not wanting to do anything. This is going to be like a little bit of like a Friday that feels like a Saturday to a certain extent, because what we're just seeing here is like there's like almost like it's kind of like a joint shared listlessness that's occurring. It's not just the listlessness in the partnership, but it's listlessness that's effectively coming through in terms of outside things not coming through either. It's like kind of feeling like everybody's just in this moment today of like this like drowsy, like not moving a lot around this right now. But in the partnered energies, this is probably okay, because in the partnered energies, this is just kind of going to feel like just like a ease day. It's a day of ease. It's going to feel like a Friday that feels like a Sunday. It's just going to feel like something where you're just taking it easy today. And that's something that, it's almost like a mutual energy that we're seeing between both of the parties involved. Now, masculine and feminine energy that is trying to move into partnership at this moment, this is a lot more difficult, because this is potentially happening in the situation itself. Masculine is looking to, this is so triggering. If you're trying to get into a partnership right now, I want you guys to throw each other bones, like give each other a little bit of a break. You guys have been doing a lot of work here. There might need to be like a little bit of chill is what I'm seeing, because we're seeing our feminine's looking at masculine and they're seeing a little bit of that like exhaustion point, right? Masculine is looking at feminine and you're seeing a little bit of that exhaustion point here too. You guys are potentially looking at each other and you're worrying that this is some like sense or level of degree of doubt that is coming into play. But really, it's potentially probably coming from a point of exhaustion right now. Making sure to maintain a level of degree of openness during this right now is going to be very key for the energy trying to come into partnership at this moment, because it's almost like you're seeing that listlessness and now you're starting to wonder, you're starting to internalize on it instead of recognizing that it may have to just do with the circumstances and situations at play. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, this is just going to be a lot of heavy energy right now if you're in separation. So please be easy on yourself today. Feminine energy that's in separation, this is a bit of that exhaustion that we see that you're experiencing from trying to hold your own boundaries. Feminine energy, what's difficult right now if you're in separation is you recognize that these boundaries that you're holding are positive, they're productive, they're moving you in the right direction. You're not questioning your boundaries so much, you're just exhausted having to hold them, because they're not necessarily something that you want to hold, but you understand and you recognize why you must. Feminine energies, again, standing firm on the fact that feminine more than anything wants masculine to come to them, to be able to be open in this degree. This is what potentially led to this fracture point in the first place. A feminine saying to the masculine, I need you to articulate to me what it is that you want, what it is that we're building toward. Are we moving to divine union? And this was a masculine energy that ran away from the feminine. Feminine energy observes this, and feminine energy is effectively at a point of exhaustion because they're not chasing after the masculine for that. They just want the masculine to change their mind. They want the masculine to reconsider. Feminine energy is effectively holding this moment right now, but they're feeling the exhaustion of that, because while the feminine energy recognizes that they potentially will have to look forward beyond this energy to find that right now, they really don't effectively want to. So this is a lot of that heavy energy for separated energies right now. Feminine, I want you to be very easy on yourself today. For masculine energy that's in separation at this time, this is going to feel like a lot of wind down energy. This is going to feel like a lot of exhaustion. This might even take like some kind of physical form for you right now, masculine, because like you're running your own battery here, you know? You're in this moment right now, again, for the masculine energy, where again, we are effectively seeing and recognizing that for masculine energy that is in separation, there is a point that you're experiencing right now that if you're in separation and you're choosing your own autonomy at this time, you're just feeling exhausted. You're effectively making this choice to kind of take on a lot of this energy alone. It is bearing some weight on you, and it's also creating this moment right now of uncertainty in terms of how to proceed forward from this time. You could potentially even right now, masculine, be turning towards other masculines to try to get some insight on this. And they themselves might also be like, I wish I could tell you, my friend, I'm in the same boat. This is some of that energy that we're seeing right now that is almost requiring a moment of reconsideration in terms of how to function going forward. It's taking a bit of this continued self-correction internally right now as you proceed forward from this point. While for masculine energy right now that is trying to come, that is moved away from a partnership opportunity to come into partnership with a different energy, this is this moment that is also feeling like a point of frustration here potentially, because again, there's something here where you feel this deep desire to communicate around some circumstances or situations, you just don't know how. You may even be assessing right now the place that you left some of those situations in, and recognizing the difficulty and the damage that needs to be effectively corrected here. Because it's not just something, it's coming through what we're really seeing with these energies that's trying to come into partnership in this way. It's not something as easy as just communicating back towards this energy. It's going to require some work. You recognize and you see the work, and you're almost feeling exhausted before you even start, because you're really trying to ascertain how you're going to do that. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is this is what everybody needs today. This is what everybody needs today. Okay, it's going to feel a little bit different depending on where you are on this collective. If you are in partnership, everything is hunky-dory today. There's like a moment right now. It could feel frustrating. People could be feeling frustrating because people are waiting for other people to come in the clutch. You're not hearing it you're not seeing it at the speed, the rapidity. Everything's like, this is giving like real like slow down kind of energy today. But the thing is, the partnered energies, it's cool. you're almost like enjoying that break. You're looking on the positive on this, and you're drawing strength. This moment of inactivity draws strength instead of, drainage. It's like creating a moment that you're just like, okay, we're just going to take it easy today, and that's cool. And that just like is that supportive energy that we see in partnership or divine union through points of listlessness. Now, for masculine and feminine energy moving into partnership right now, this is something that, again, is requiring a lot of personal strength here. This could feel a lot trickier today if you're trying to move into partnership, because we see here that this is something that's starting to feel like a bit more of a strength training exercise. We're now moving into the space of doing things that are difficult. Masculine, again, you opened up to feminine to such a degree that feminine, now you may have kind of had this moment, and this is like kind of that inevitability. You may be seeing right now the inevitability of something that you communicated to feminine that now needs to be done. Be that ending old partnerships, building some point of clarity. This is seeing that movement right now that is requiring some action with you, but we're seeing here that you're feeling some of that anxiety and moving towards that action. This is requiring a lot of strength on your part as you push through this moment. Feminine, this is also masculine calling you to task now. This is masculine energy potentially saying to you, I opened up to you in this capacity. Now you need to do the same to me. This is a feminine energy that was very, very trepidatious of opening to masculine. Being able to meet the masculine where they are asking you to meet them and recognizing that, yes, that is fair. Fair is fair. You ask the masculine to let their guard down. Masculine's now asking you to let your guard down, is also requiring a lot of strength for the feminine. So both of these energies coming into partnership or trying to come into partnership right now are going through a lot of this heavy work right now. It's going to feel like a bit of a strength training exercise today. Masculine and feminine energy in separation, this is very different. This is feminine energy going through that strength training exercise today for themselves if they're in separation. Again, feminine energy is reminding themselves right now, they're in this moment that feels like they're caught in a bit of like energetic limbo, because feminine energy is recognizing that while they're committing, they recognize they cannot chase after a masculine energy to ask them to come into partnership. They also really want to. This is that feminine energy changing or breaking their own cycles of, again, the lessons learned during the retrograde period, potentially over giving to things that do not give back in kind. Feminine energy is recognizing that they need to look forward for this right now, but they don't necessarily want to today, because the desire is truly for this masculine energy from the past to come back, for the masculine energy to be open, for the masculine energy to move to the feminine. And this is what we're seeing that is requiring a lot of personal strength right now for the feminine energy, because this is requiring a movement where you're not moving towards your desire for an individual, but you're moving towards your aspiration, towards a goal. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. It's the feminine energy that you're feeling like this. Do not you throw this TF word at me. This is feminine energy that is struggling between their desire for an energy, a particular energy, versus their aspiration towards their long-term manifestation goal. This is that energy that we're seeing that is occurring right now. Now, masculine energy that is in a point of separation, we are effectively seeing that you yourself are feeling the same energy of heaviness today. Now again, depending on where you fall on this masculine collective and separation, this is one or two different modalities. If this is a masculine energy that made the intentional choice to move away from a partnership possibility that was offered, there was something about that offer recently that you recognized was so perfect that it called attention to the fact that you are not necessarily an energy that desires divine union. You are observing this in yourself. You're recognizing that something about that opportunity was one that made you have to look at your own self and recognize your own fear or anxiety into moving into divine union at this time. You are working to maintain your autonomy, but the problem is you see your own pattern right now. You don't want to inflict the damage potentially that you now recognize that you caused moving away from something, potentially even making someone feel and now understanding that you gave them the wrong impression, that they feel like they were misled, because you now recognize this in yourself. Recognizing now how to proceed forward, understanding this about yourself right now is the challenge, is the trigger. It's taking a lot of strength because it's making you realize that you're going to have to be very, very vulnerable and open going forward in terms of communicating this. And that for a lot of energy around you, it's going to move them away from you. It's going to pull them away from you. This is feeling like this is a lot of personal anxiety that you're experiencing, and you may not necessarily even be moving towards anything right now because you're trying to figure out how to do this in a way that's going to feel possible, functional, productive. And it's taking a lot of personal strength as you do so. Masculine energy right now that's on the other side of this collective, this is that moment that you're finally recognizing that the reason you moved away from a divine partnership opportunity is because there's another energy that you aspire for that divine partnership with. And this is that moment that you're finally ready for the divine partnership, but you're also having to look at something and take full accountability on where you may have potentially left something. Full accountability in terms of your own ability to have fled from something in the past. Recognizing that in order to make something work there, you're going to have to take accountability for that. And now asking yourself, are you brave enough to move back towards that? This is feeling like an internal crisis point because you're feeling this point that says like you moved away from something potentially because you were afraid. And now you're going to have to take, it's making you more, because there's some kind of point here of having to accommodate for that. And so for the masculine energy right now, this is that point of vacillation in terms of trying to get your own courage up to take that step forward. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between Two of Wands and its transverse and our Knight of Swords. So masculine and feminine, this is going to feel a little bit different, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For masculine and feminine energy and partnership at this time, this is just feeling the frustration of waiting for some things that you don't feel like you have all the clarity of optics on. This could even be outside situations or circumstances. This could even be a moment right now that's very frustrating, because there could be a desire right now for masculine and feminine energy in partnership to want to make plans, but feeling like you can't. Because on one side or the other, you are waiting for something else, someone else's plans to be able to make plans, right? And so this is creating a point of disempowerment, particularly for the masculine today. That's just like having some point of exhaustion, because there's been a lot of heavy lifting that the masculine's been doing in this capacity. Feminine, you could be identifying this right now in the masculine, potentially trying to create some support right now. Partnered energies are trying to come into partnership right now. Feminine is trying to look at masculine and saying, are you going to take action on what we discussed? Masculine is looking at feminine and saying, are you going to open up the way I'm asking you to open up, like you asked me to? Separated energies, this is feminine just feeling the full weight of wanting to communicate with someone, but feeling and recognizing that the only way to communicate with them is if they communicate first. Masculine, if you're in separation, this is that moment of not knowing how to proceed forward. This is going to feel very hard right now for masculine energy and separation, because this is almost like feeling like full stop in terms of what to do from this point. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with how we solve things. How do we solve things? We solve things with communication. Okay, this is good. This is positive. This is productive, though, because what we're really seeing here again, cards are really funny. Masculine and feminine energy that are in partnership. Like, this is cool. This is really cute because this is in partnership. This is masculine and feminine energy, just like, puttering about, doing their own things, like almost being unbothered by like any of the blockages around them. Instead, like, it's giving a lot of like, we'll just do it ourselves thing, just like whatever. It's like, it's not necessarily the fact that there's a blockage here. It's almost the fact that feminine and masculine energy are just generating their own plans in the face of anything that is showing some kind of blockage. It's not blocking for the partnered energies, because they've got the unification of the partnership, and there's like, we can just do things ourselves. Like, that's effectively what's happening here. And so the partnered energies are effectively doing this right now. This is more of that planning that we saw coming into play, right? We've been seeing a lot of planning. We saw a lot of planning yesterday. This is also, I need to stress this. This is a lot of that energy we saw. Remember I said that the partnered energies are recalling. They're recalling their energy from situations and circumstances. This is that moment that this is why. They're taking that energy now and they're now applying it into those spaces and places because they have that that surfeit of it. Partnered energies right now that are moving into partnership. This is that moment, or this is that observation that we're effectively seeing. Again, the solution to the problem is productivity. It's communication. Now for feminine, what we're seeing here again, something about the level or degree that they ask masculine to open was feminine looking at masculine saying, what you just told me is going to require you to do some things, right? Like things can't stay where they are. You're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. Feminine energy is looking to masculine to see if they're going to move forward on what they said they were going to move forward on. While masculine is looking at feminine and saying, yeah, I get that. I can do those things, but I'm still waiting for you to open up in the same capacity and degree that you asked me to. Are you going to show me an ability to do that? So both energies are looking to each other if they're moving in partnership right now and saying, are you going to do what you said you did? Words mean nothing without action. Show me that you can do these things so that we can continue to progress forward. So there'll be a lot of looking back and forth right now. Separated energies right now. This is feminine energy channeling. I gotta say, for some of this feminine energy right now, this might be a cracking point. I gotta stress, for feminine energy, this is heavy, right? Because what we're really seeing right now around this is the fact that feminine energy is feeling this point where they want to communicate with an energy that isn't coming towards them. And we see here that there is a lot of communication and planning that is within this feminine energy and separation right now. So this is all going to be a moment for feminine about productively channeling this need for communication into avenues that you feel are going to make them productive. And this could, I need to stress, this could be feminine energy literally taking the one person that they want to communicate with right now and putting it towards anything else, like just lots and lots of product. It's almost like feminine taking the blockage and suddenly it's almost, I want to describe this, the way I can describe this right now is how a light hits a prism. How a light hits a prism and then just bursts out. This is a lot of energy on the part of feminine in terms of finding anywhere else to put this right now. Anywhere else to put this as opposed to the one place that they want to put this. This is creativity. This is creativity in action right now, okay? And some of it, I need to warn for some of the feminine, might be very hard not to communicate towards energy like this right now because there's so much of this that you might accidentally bing on that as well. So if you're trying to maintain your boundaries today, feminine, channel it into productive spaces and places, okay? Masculine energy that's in separation right now. This is that overwhelm point that's happening because you yourself are also feeling this right now. For the masculine energy that is in separation, this is potentially what you're doing. If you chose autonomy, if you made this point in recognizing your own level or degree of autonomy right now, what we're actually seeing right now is I almost see that for a lot of that masculine energy, this is you trying to articulate on what it is you're actually looking for. This is potentially you coming into a space or place where you're finding the point of productivity in terms of trying to articulate as much as possible right now, potentially even finding some way. I even see some of the masculine energy right now, there could be a lot of writing that you're doing for yourself right now, being what the heck do I want? Trying to figure that out, articulating on it as specifically as possible right now and potentially putting that out in multiple different areas. To see if you can find something that's similar, This is giving a lot of that searching energy for the masculine right now, because now it's almost creating the space or place where it's activating you to try to seek this with the conviction that it's there. Through potentially multiple different places and spaces. For masculine energy right now that is in separation, and this is a soul potential energy that you are desiring this communication with, you're desiring to go back to. This is that moment where, again, this could be like it goes from like I'm getting your like some energy right now could be from like a little to a lot. It's like nothing to everything. This is like something where I'm seeing like there's like this influx of communication. This is the masculine energy explaining things. This is what we're seeing here. This is the masculine energy feeling that blockage, and this is the masculine energy potentially even putting it down for themselves right now. This is how the masculine energy is like working through this right now, which is I need to get this all down. Send it all in one burst. This is a masculine energy. This is almost like a masculine energy recognizing right now that if they're trying to move towards a singular energy that they left something like this in, that like a hey isn't going to cut it. A how are you isn't going to cut it. There needs to be a full, robust explanation. And this is a masculine energy channeling that communication blockage into something feeling very productive and robust. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Swords and its reversal in combination with our Eight of Pentacles in the transverse. So partnered energies right now, this is more of that point of not necessarily doing much today, not feeling like a lot's getting done. Partnered energies, it's not that bad. Masculine is just kind of like, ugh, but like, it's okay. It's just more about like, it feels like more of a day of ease for partnered energies. Masculine and feminine moving into partnership. This is seeing if someone can put their money where their mouth is. You said you want these things. Let's see you do them. Feminine's looking at masculine being like, are you willing to do this work? Masculine's looking at feminine saying, are you willing to do this work? Feminine energy and separation. This is the frustration that you're feeling about something caught in limbo, because again, you don't want to move forward today. You just really hope this energy is going to change their mind or move towards you. But like, there's this point of anxiety and doubt that potentially isn't going to happen, or that you're feeling the weight of this feeling like it's kind of hanging over you right now. Masculine energy in separation. This is again trying to figure out how to work in a more productive, positive way going forward that isn't going to cause the harm that something that you moved away from caused. Or it's a moment right now of trying to see if you can make something work again that you left in a space or place that was not great. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Cups in its reversal. This is really hard. Well, it's not. So, partnered energies right now. One of the only challenges that the feminine, I need to stress, in partnership right now, you could be feeling a little separated from this masculine energy right now. There's like a lot of withdrawal that we're seeing right now with the masculine energy in partnership. They're tired, is what we're really almost seeing. There's something here about the masculine energy in partnership just being exhausted, This is a moment right now that we're really just seeing the masculine energy needs a break, is what we're effectively seeing. And for masculine and for feminine energy right now, I think the hardest thing around this is like not necessarily taking some of this personally. This is even a feminine energy right now that's assessing and looking at the masculine, recognizing why the masculine might not necessarily be as like emotionally available to the feminine right now, but also trying to like really balance the fact that this is a masculine energy that like is kind of like exhausted. So for feminine, this is that abandonment wound coming up, but the strength of the partnership is helping you through it, because this is a moment for the feminine about not taking it personally, While for masculine and feminine energy moving into partnership right now, this is triggering. This is difficult. This could be a moment right now that could make or break whether some of these energies are coming back into partnership, or if this is going to be a bit of a breakaway point. Because what we're seeing here is, again, masculine is being asked by feminine to sever, to change, to make adjustments based on what they were told or they revealed. And this is that masculine energy feeling both disempowered to a certain extent, but also looking to feminine right now and saying, you need to open up to me first. You're going to have to do this in kind. And feminine has been very resistant in doing this. This is making the masculine pull back emotionally. So this is that moment that, again, both energies need to see something from the other, and they're waiting. Because masculine is basically saying to feminine, which is, I'm not going to cut off anything. I'm not going to stop anything until I know what's going on with you. And feminine energy is going, well, I don't want to tell you until I see you effectively do that. So this is like, I want to make sure if this is happening that we don't get into this modality if you're trying to move into partnership right now, because openness right now is really going to be key. It's having to show the other person your own ability to practice what you preach to a certain extent. Energy and separation right now, this is really heavy. This is some heavy, heavy energy if you're in separation right now, because feminine energy that's in separation, this is feeling the combined weight of not feeling that the masculine's coming towards you and feeling like that's some kind of confirmation of a lack of care. This is what's so doubly hard right now for the feminine that's going through this right now, which is the fact that feminine was waiting for masculine to come back to them in this capacity. And this is that point of observation and saying, well, if they're not coming back to me like this, then they must not care. And this is that point where feminine is feeling very drawn or attached to masculine energy in this modality, but they're also identifying that this is why it's not divine union energy, because the combination of someone showing a resistance or a reluctance to express their emotions and also an inability to come forward is not giving anything that the feminine energy can work with at all. This is further, again, confirming to feminine why they need to continue to move forward, but it's very hard because feminine energy wants this energy to grow in this capacity, to change in this capacity, to allow that ability to become available. Masculine that's going through this right now, if you're in separation, this is that moment that you're potentially hitting that feels like a bit of a personal crisis. We've been saying for the masculine energy that's in this right now, there's a lot more of this personal crisis energy that's hitting, particularly for the masculine energy that is making the choice to maintain their own level or degree of autonomy at this time. Because masculine energy, you're feeling potentially the combined weight right now of not knowing where to move forward towards and not knowing how to emotionally communicate about where you are and how you're feeling right now. This could feel very isolating at this moment. And this is feeling like some sense or energetic listlessness on your part, because like it could be feeling very existential for the masculine in this modality, because it's something about this deeper observation of the self and not necessarily knowing how to proceed forward from it that is creating a bit of this hurdle, but the hurdle is within you, right? So this is more of that internal journey that potentially is required right now to get to the heart of this, because now potentially even masculine energies questioning, why don't I need, where's this trigger point? Where's this point that I decided that partnership is not something where I can be productive? Well, for masculine energy right now, that is effectively trying to come back into union with feminine energy, this is that moment of feeling a lot of personal confusion at this time, because again, you're feeling this need or desire to want to put forward towards feminine right now, but you don't know how. You're feeling the anxiety and fear of doing so. You're holding back on yourself, and you're seeing yourself doing it. But you're also recognizing the only way to determine and decide if something is able to work is if you get the confidence to do so. So this is more of that vacillation that we see in the energy if they're in separation right now, especially for masculine. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 8 of Pentacles transverse in combination with our Page of Swords. So, masculine and feminine in partnership right now. Everybody's just relaxing today. Nobody feels like doing much of anything, but it's almost like you're sharing in that vibration, so it's fine. You know, you're just enjoying it. Energies that are moving into partnership, this is that make or break moment. I gotta warn, there's a lot of make or break energy here for the energies moving into partnership at this time. Because this is almost like a moment. And again, feminine, I need to stress this. Why was feminine energy afraid? This was a feminine energy that they already recognized the masculine energy seemed to be a little flip-flopping in terms of opening in this capacity. Feminine energy is potentially coming to this space where they're looking and being like, oh, is this where you're changing your mind? Are you changing your mind? And masculine energy is having this moment where they're looking to feminine saying, I'm not changing my mind, but I need to see that you're committed. I need to see that you're willing to meet me as well. Masculine and feminine energy and separation. Feminine energy, you're just feeling a lot of listlessness because you don't want to move forward. You don't want to have to do this work again. It's requiring strength to be able to maintain this. So you're hitting this point of exhaustion, holding up these boundaries. But you're also recognizing you can't make something work entirely on your own. You need the masculine energy to show this degree and capacity of coming forward, because that's the only way to get proof that something is not wasting your time. Masculine energy in separation, this is more of that personal crisis that you're feeling right now, because you're feeling the anxiety of being in that point of solitude, in that point of separateness, but you're doing it on your own. And it almost feels like something about this time is different, because it almost feels like a bit of a clean slate here. You're doing something way different. You're not sure how to do it. May I please have one card to clarify? Priorities. This is becoming a matter of priorities. Masculine and feminine energy that's in partnership at this time. This is that point. This is more of that energy that we've been identifying, that has been coming through with the partnered energies in terms of unifying your goals, unifying your plans going forward. Potentially, again, not having these things that are, this is for the masculine and feminine energy right now that's in partnership. It's like not having some things coming to fruition around you. It almost feels like a gift. That's the funny part about this. There could be some moments right now that could feel like they're built to be frustrating. But when you're in partnership, you're just like, it's fine. It's like more energy for us for the partnership. It's not creating a space or place of frustration so much, because it's like, it's just creating a point of easement. It's like more energy for the partnership itself to unify on their priorities. So it's almost like a moment right now that, like, if something isn't coming to fruition around the partnership, it almost kind of feels copacetic. It's like, okay, you know, maybe that's a blessing in disguise kind of energy is what we're almost seeing around this right now for partnered energies. Masculine and feminine energy moving into partnership right now. This is the push and pull between identifying whether you can unify on your needs right now, because you're both effectively asking someone for something different to see if you guys are moving towards the same purpose and same goals. And something about this right now is going to address the feeling of juggling multiple priorities or having to identify the priorities, okay? For masculine, again, you're asking feminine to show the ability of opening up to you in this way. For feminine, you're asking masculine to effectively prove and show you that you are the priority now, given what they've revealed to you. And so for both energies right now, this is that point of clarification to see, can you unify in terms of that sole purpose? Or is this going to feel more like a push-pull? Partner energies in separation right now. Feminine energy right now. This is how you're building your own priority. Because feminine energy, potentially up until this point, you may have recognized that in the relationship that you were having with masculine, because we did see that there was this break-off point, that you felt like you were juggling two different lives, right? This is a masculine energy that was not necessarily allowing a point of integration between you, hence not being in a divine union. This was masculine energy that was effectively asking you to do this juggling act of acting like you're in partnership but being in separation, but acting like you're in partnership but being in separation. Feminine energy is tired of playing that juggling act here. This is feminine energy effectively right now continuing to affirm to themselves that they don't want to be in that game where they feel like they're being juggled. They don't want to be juggled by masculine. They don't want to feel like masculine energy isn't completely committing towards them at this moment. This is where feminine energy is getting a point of catharsis even through some of this difficulty or hurdle. It's almost completely affirming to the feminine. This lack of the masculine coming towards them in this way is almost confirming to the feminine that they were being juggled because they were not a priority. Because if they were a priority, masculine would have more concern about them no longer being in their life. Masculine in separation right now. This is also a moment that is potentially feeling like a point of personal crisis right now, because again, we're seeing some listlessness. You're feeling some uncertainty on how to go forward. For the energy that's trying to maintain your autonomy at this time, this is more of that returning to focusing on what your actual priority is. Because you may be feeling right now that you're trying to save yourself. This is like almost a masculine energy right now that's trying to say, like, I'm saving myself for what? And they're like, that's a really good question. Like, what? Like, this is creating this sense, this like inside point for the masculine right now doing this and saying, like, why Why am I doing this? This is that internal work that we like to see. It's leading to points of productivity right now. While for masculine energy right now, and it's helping you understand, it's helping you really focus on what that goal is going forward. It's getting to the heart of something. It's going to feel a lot more existential if you're doing this right now, masculine. While for masculine right now, and because again, what this may be happening is masculine, if you're experiencing this, one of the things you may be recognizing is this is getting to the heart of some kind of deep need not to feel like you want to compromise. And recognizing that divine union requires some point of compromise. While for masculine energy right now, that is utilizing this as a moment to move towards a divine partner, this is that moment that like something in this moment is, again, it's just identifying and reorienting you. Because while we see you don't know how to go forward on it, you're feeling a lot of anxiety, it's almost like reaffirming to you your own desire right now as to like what you want to move towards. Because for this moment right now, it's like you're kind of seeing that this, not the fact that this is easy, the fact that it's hard, the fact that it would be hard to do this almost reaffirming and confirming to you that this is the direction that you want to head into at this time. This is like, it's almost like doubling down on your own decision. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Page of Swords and its reversal in combination with our Strength card. So, partnered energies right now, it's okay. You're taking it easy, but it's creating strength. This is the beautiful power of a battery. It's like you're taking it easy, but like, again, you're finding the security and strength in that point of easement. It's fine. You're in a cozy little comfort cave right now if you're in a partnered energy to a certain extent. Though feminine may be feeling like the masculine's like withdrawn a little bit more than they would ideally desire, but you understand why. Energy right now that's not in partnership or moving into partnership, this is that point where you're looking at the other person and saying, are you strong enough to do this? Like, are you really strong enough to do this? Are you strong enough to do this work with me right now? And this is requiring an act of strength on both sides. Feminine has to be open and vulnerable and express the same way as masculine. Masculine needs to act, take action on what they told the feminine. Separation energy right now, this is going to feel very difficult because this is feeling that point of exhaustion in separation and having to find personal strength from within. Feminine, this is holding strong even if it's feeling very hard to hold these boundaries for yourself, understanding why. Masculine right now, this is a lack of personal this is internal conflict. This is an internal conflict that you're experiencing, and you're trying to draw strength as you move through it. May I please have one card to clarify? Two cards coming out to clarify. Okay, so in partnership right now, wow, these are two cards. Oh boy. Here's the thing. This is actually interesting. In partnership right now, and this is probably why we're seeing, I need to stress, if people have been making plans for trips and stuff right now, this is probably why, because we saw a lot of these cards coming into play right now. It's not the fact that you're having this point of easement. It's where you have to do it. It's where you're doing it right now. It's like where you're finding it. It's more, it doesn't have anything to do it. It's almost like a lot of conversations if you're in this like kind of restlessness. And it makes a lot of sense too, because we saw this Hermit in its reversal coming through over the last few days. It's like kind of an energy where it's like more of this like potential like trip planning, being like, we should get out of here. We should go somewhere. If we're going to relax like this, we should go somewhere else to relax, because there's been a combination energy of feeling some frustration of not finding peace in solitude. And it has to do with the immediate environment potentially around you right now, So partnered energies right now, I'm just seeing more of this situation or circumstance of looking at your immediate environment and maybe making some point of accommodation or adjustment, even as you have this point of easement that is coming through. Well, for masculine and feminine energy right now that is moving into partnership at this moment, this is that point of looking right now at something and trying to identify if it's going to move into a state of easement. We're hitting now on something that is making someone feel somewhat uncomfortable. Feminine is feeling a bit uncomfortable from what was presented to them by masculine. Feminine wants masculine to confirm and affirm to them that they are the choice that they are making. It's requiring masculine to do something uncomfortable to show the feminine that they are the choice. Masculine is also doing that to the feminine right now. The energies are reflecting themselves if they're moving into partnership right now, because masculine's like, yeah, I know it makes you feel uncomfortable to open up like that, but you also have to do that. And this is that moment of, again, kind of strength testing each other to see if they're willing to do the hard thing that is required to confirm that you are making that choice for one another going forward. Now, for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, this is going to feel like a lot more restlessness. It's going to feel like a lot more frustration energy, particularly because we're effectively seeing that for the feminine energy in separation at this time, this is a point of feeling the point of frustration. You're not where you want to be. You want to effectively be with that masculine, but you're also focusing on what it is that you want on the long term. You're sacrificing your immediate present comfort, the thing that you would desire in the short term, i.e. a masculine energy that is giving you every indication that they don't have the desire to move into something that feels like divine union with you, versus your own desire in terms of what you're trying to go forward with at this time. This is clarifying to feminine between the difference between a short-term desire, a present desire that would make them feel comfortable in the moment versus the long-term goal. This is becoming a willpower test for the feminine, because it's requiring them to choose their immediate present easement against what they actually desire. Masculine energy and separation right now, you are also going through this process. Depending on where you fall on this collective. If you are masculine energy that is maintaining and preserving, if you are masculine in energy, that you just came through a process where you recognize that you were preserving your autonomy at all costs, not even up for a choice, just the autonomy for the sense of the autonomy. This is a moment that you are effectively looking inwards and going, why am I doing this? Because it's not making me feel comfortable. It's not creating a sense of positivity in this moment. It's making it more difficult. What is it that I truly desire? This is that internal journey to understand that deeper thing that you're reaching the heart of right now. Okay? While for masculine energy right now that is moving through this, and this is the choice that you are making to move into divine union or divine partnership at this time. This is something that you moved away from for the sake of something else. This is that moment that you are immediately looking and being like, this is not going to be easy. This is not something I can have immediately. This is something that's kind of a mess. This is something that it's going to get kind of messy to kind of effectively do this. It's going to require a lot of this recalibration. But the fact that it's not easy is exactly what's confirming to you that that is what you truly seek. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Between our Eight of Wands in combination with our Knight of Cups energy. So, masculine energy right now, again, going through a moment or period where we see that for the energies in partnership, this is fine. Again, I'm seeing here a lot of plans being made today. Again, a point of rest, but with a lot of productivity, potentially in the realms of making plans for the future. Not a lot of activity in the present, but almost like building up for those future plans. Masculine, there's something about your own personal sense of exhaustion at this time. That's almost creating a space or place. Again, this could even be this is more of this, the unified energies in partnership. This could be, again, more of that masculine energy. Potentially you're pulling out of things right now. Not having the bandwidth for them, potentially. Feminine, this could be you actually putting forward towards plans right now or communicating on behalf of a masculine that you're seeing is at a bit of an emotional pullback moment. Partnered energies or energies moving into partnership right now, this is all about seeing whether you can take that action. Feminine is feeling the anxiety of masculine, feeling reluctant. This is a problem right now. It's not that feminine is seeing the fact that masculine is doing this. It's almost the fact that feminine is observing whether masculine is reluctant to do this. Masculine is feeling the frustration of potentially having to do this and wanting feminine energy to open up in kind. Partnered energy, separated energies right now. Again, feminine energy is feeling the weight of a masculine that is not emotionally opening up to them, even in separation. Feminine energy is almost using the masculine not coming towards them in this capacity to further confirm their path forward. They're almost taking this as confirmation. Masculine, this is a lot of separation right now. This is you having to look inwards. This is you having to take this time right now inwards emotionally so that you can figure out what the path is going ahead. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Five of Swords in its reversal. Something from the past that needs to be addressed. Not wanting to leave something behind. For masculine and feminine energy in partnership right now, this could be tying up a lot of loose ends. This could be, again, taking some of this energy right now. Anything that isn't feeling productive right now, this is wrapping those things up. Again, more of that recalling of the energy so that you can put things into new productive paths going forward. Okay? Masculine and feminine in partnership right now. And this is feeling like a point of catharsis to a certain extent. Masculine, this may be a little bit more triggering for you today, even in partnership right now. Because there is something here from the past that's effectively like having some like emotional trigger, something that feels open-ended that needs to be addressed. Feminine, you could even be seeing this in the masculine right now. Partnered energies or energies moving into partnership right now. This is that moment that, again, this is problematic, especially if there's been past situations or circumstances with these energies coming into partnership at this time. Because what we're effectively seeing at this moment is a point of observation that's happening that is triggering something from the past that feels like it's open-ended. Masculine, this is why if you're moving into partnership right now, this could be difficult because there's something here that you're having to address that's feeling open-ended that you need to take action on, and you're potentially resistant to it. You're also looking to feminine right now and seeing if they have the same capacity to close out some of these past cycles by opening up in this way. Masculine and feminine energy are looking at each other right now. And there's also the anxiety that something is triggering or happening that feels similar to past experiences. So I'm going to warn again, if you are moving into partnership right now, be very careful of moving with intentionality and not letting yourself get triggered. While for masculine and feminine in separation, this is a lot of this heavy weight that we're seeing. Feminine energy is feeling this frustration of knowing that they need to move forward, even feeling like something is going to be open-ended with this energy. Because again, this is not a feminine energy that is closing the door on the masculine. This is a feminine energy that effectively needed the masculine to show them that they cared. They needed them to show them that they had this ability to open up in this facility or capacity. Feminine energy is doing the thing that they're doing with healthy boundaries, which is they're not slamming a door in someone's face. They're basically saying, I can't come towards you. I need you to show me the capacity of you coming towards me. And that's what the feminine's doing. Feminine energy is moving on now, or moving forward, while leaving that door open, which is what we often see the feminine doing in these ways. Masculine for your part right now, this is that moment. But feminine is also feeling the weight of doing this, I will stress, because feminine is going to recognize that this is not something they can do indefinitely, because it's making it too hard, effectively, to continue forward. While for masculine and feminine, for masculine energy and separation right now, this is that point of assessment. For half the masculine energy right now, if you're choosing your own autonomy, this is that moment that you're really putting a deep care and attention into past experiences. You are reframing past experiences that didn't necessarily work out, and you're understanding how your lack of ability to emotionally commit to something may have caused some of these situations, may have caused some of these scenarios. You're trying to learn and observe that to find a new productive way that isn't going to cause as much harm as you go forward from this point. For the other part of the masculine collective right now, if you're trying to move back into partnership at this moment, what we're effectively seeing at this time is a point of observation that you yourself are having. You're looking back on something. You're seeing that there's something that needs to be corrected. You're recognizing that the reason something did not work from the past was because of your own inability to emotionally commit to it. And this is potentially what you're trying to express right now, to allow for this point of easement going forward. This could even be a lot of, again, even working this out for yourself right now, masculine. If you're in this capacity, you could be like at a point where you're just kind of processing this in one way, shape, or form, either communicating robustly towards someone on this, or like writing it out for yourself at this moment so that you really kind of understand it for yourself. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Cups in combination with our Two of Pentacles in its reversal. Partnered energies right now, again, feminine's actually helping, trying to take some of the weight off of masculine today, because feminine's seeing the masculines juggling a lot and it's making it kind of hard for them to connect emotionally. Feminine's almost creating that space for masculine. It's like a copacetic kind of energy, you know? It's being unified in your goals, unified in your plans, unified in your purposes. Masculine, you're finding yourself in this vibration, but the partnership makes it easier. It's taking that weight off of you. It's almost confirming to you the value of the partnership. Masculine and feminine energy that are moving towards partnership at this time. This is that point of trying to really see, are we on the same page? Can we orient on the same goals? Are you going to show me that I am the priority? Are you going to be able to show that capacity? This is that moment that you're building that point of confirmation right now. And it can go either way, which is why I'm saying for the energies moving into partnership right now, be very careful of not getting triggered. Energies in separation right now. This is feminine feeling the bittersweet confirmation of confirming that they need to continue forward in this way. That they refuse to be an option and not a priority at this time. And the masculine energy not coming forward in this way, in this capacity, not connecting to them and emotionally telling them how they feel, is confirmation to feminine that masculine never considered them a priority. While for masculine right now, that is in separation. This is that moment internally where you are seeking your own priority. For the masculine energy right now, that is choosing to stay at a point of autonomy. This is that moment that feels rather frustrating because it's probably feeling like a lot of solitude here, a lot of uncertainty. Because it almost feels like you yourself are running out of options. So you're recognizing that the choice that you may be making for yourself right now is yourself, which is talking towards you asking yourself what your higher purpose is. While for the masculine energy right now, that is trying to move back towards an energy. This was a movement away to move towards something. This is that moment that you're trying to figure out how. That you're feeling somewhat torn. You're feeling torn because you're recognizing that whatever this is going to require you to be emotionally vulnerable. And this is the balancing that we're seeing here, because this is the emotional vulnerability that you're learning at this time, because you're recognizing, again, are you going to hold back on your own emotionality to your detriment? Or are you going to take this risk? Are you going to be vulnerable in this capacity to try to fix something? Bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is different choices lead to different results. Different choices lead to different results. We like seeing this right now. Again, masculine and feminine energy in partnership. This is positive. This is, again, what we're seeing. Masculine and feminine pulling back on some of their energies. Pulling back, choosing the priority. The priority is the relationship. and potentially taking new approaches in terms of how to move forward from here to be able to feel more aligned as it relates to those universal or those unified goals. This is feeling, again, like a conservation of energy, but really channeling and focusing towards like one ultimate goal, one ultimate purpose at this time. While for masculine and feminine energy that is moving into partnership at this moment, what we effectively are seeing at this time is this moment that we are recognizing that, again, you are observing that this is taking a different course. You're trying to see if something is going to be like it was in the past, or whether it's something that can allow for something new. For masculine, this opening up and then consolidating of energy, showing feminine through your actions that they are the priority, is potentially feeling like a bit of a sea change for you. You haven't opened up to this capacity before. For the other part of the collective right now, for the masculine, for the feminine energy, being open like this to masculine is also feeling like a bit of a sea change, because again, you're showing them that you are that you're both unified and showing that you are the priority. This is a mirroring moment, so it's very careful when we're in mirroring moments to make sure that we do the thing that we want the other one to do. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, for masculine energy that is and feminine that are in separation, this is going to feel a lot harder. Okay? Because what we're really seeing is this moment that, again, for the energies that are in separation, masculine, feminine, this isn't something that you're willing. Feminine is literally not recalibrating on this. Feminine energy is continuing to hold firm on this. Feminine energy even recognizes to a certain extent that doing this is feeling like a bit of a sea change. Feminine energy is like, it's hard. It's hard to make this choice because feminine is making the choice of holding to their own values and not compromising them for the sake of the emotionality of the masculine that isn't coming forward at this time. This is taking a new approach. It's hard for feminine because they don't know what it's going to lead to, but it is one that they're taking nonetheless. That's the catharsis point that the feminine's giving themselves at this moment. While for masculine right now that's in separation, this is falling on one or two different divides. Again, this is a masculine energy that is maintaining their own sense of autonomy at this moment. But keeping their level of autonomy at this time is now one that they're trying to find a different way to do so. Because they're recognizing that something about the way they were doing in the past was causing too much hurt, was causing too much harm, was closing doors around them instead of opening them. And this is that moment that you are trying to find an easier way forward that does not feel like it is a juggling act. This is coming through as a point of healing. Well, but it is difficult because it's making you literally have to take a new approach. It's trying to figure out what that is or what that looks like right now that is feeling like such a challenge area. While for masculine energy right now that is utilizing this as an option or opportunity to try to move back towards energy that you feel you left something open-ended with in the past. You are also recognizing that there's going to need to be some deep points of clarification to help articulate the difference between where you effectively left something versus what you are trying to bring forward at this time. There's potentially something here that you recognize that your own emotional inavailability potentially caused a lot of the friction, a lot of the fracture point. This is that growth that we just saw. And this is that moment that you yourself are trying to consider this because there's a point of anxiety here because it's requiring you to take a different approach, which is opening up in an emotional way that you haven't done before. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Two of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Seven of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Nine of Pentacles in its reversal. So what we're really identifying right now is, again, partnered energies. This is feeling fine. This is actually feeling more like practical issues that need to be addressed in order to find more productive ways going forward. That's effectively what we're seeing here. And there's potentially the only issue around this right now is, again, any of the frustrations that you're feeling in your immediate environment, they're not necessarily getting you off your path. They are fortifying you. They're confirming your highest purpose or confirming your highest path. You are looking right now as a point of easement because it's just validating you further as you go forward from this. And it's really unifying on your priorities as you proceed forward in this capacity. So this is, again, a moment of taking down some burdens, feeling some frustration, but not necessarily letting it deviate you from your course going forward in the partnership at this time. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is effectively working on building into partnership at this moment, this is a moment that we are also identifying and orienting that this is that moment. This is that moment that's feeling more like a struggle moment because both energies are asking the other to do something that feels very difficult to effectively confirm that this is the direction that you are going in. This is coming through right now in terms of allowing a point of making a priority effectively known. And it's not necessarily easy. It's creating a bit of that struggle point. But what we're effectively seeing right now for the energy at play around this is also the thing that is needed from both sides to confirm that they are in fact the priority. So for the energies right now that are moving into partnership, again, I'm going to stress a lot of mirroring today that needs to effectively be identified because it's in that point of identifying that the other person can meet and match you there that you're getting the confirmation that this is something that is being valued. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation, this is that moment that we're effectively identifying and recognizing that, again, it's going to feel a lot harder for the energies that are effectively in separation at this time because, especially for the feminine right now, there's a moment that you are effectively identifying where you are not comfortable at this moment. You recognize, even to a certain degree, that there probably could be a point of comfort to you if you are effectively going to be in a space or place where you compromise your own values or ideals to be able to maintain partnership with an energy that's given some indication that they're not necessarily in a space or place where they are effectively desiring what you are desiring at this time. But this is effectively unifying your own commitment to what it is that you desire. Masculine, this is a moment that you are effectively working and navigating because you yourself are feeling this internal struggle. If you are a masculine right now in separation, this is going to feel like more of an internal crisis. Masculine right now that is in separation, you are now feeling the anxiety and frustration in terms of identifying that you are not necessarily feeling comfortable in this moment. But again, this was effectively your choice. So again, if the masculine chose autonomy right now, the reason this is feeling like such an internal struggle is because something about what you chose has not brought the satisfaction that you aspired to, because you see something about it now that is hard to ignore. It's requiring you to do this deeper exploration on what it is that you truly value, what it is that you're truly holding on to in that point of autonomy, what it is that you're truly seeking, that you're maintaining this autonomy for. While for masculine energy right now that's trying to move back towards a feminine energy with this aspiration or goal to come into divine union, this is that moment that feels like such a struggle because it's not the fact that you don't know what it is that you desire. It's effectively recognizing what you have to do to achieve it. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with King of Swords, integrity, integrity, integrity. We love to see this right now. For partnered energies, this is going to just feel like that supportive environment. There's something right now with masculine, again, and this is actually kind of beautiful right now with the partner, the energies that are in partnership. It's not that things are easy. There are potentially things that need to be resolved. There are some issues here. There are some circumstances. There are some hurdles. There are some setbacks. But those setbacks are not breaking or dividing the partnership. They're reaffirming them because it's really focusing on the partnerships in terms of what that aspiration is, what that long-term milestone is that you're working to achieve at this time. This, for the feminine right now, for feminine, this is identifying and recognizing a masculine's ability to persist through difficult circumstances and challenges, shows the recognition that this is a masculine that operates from a state of integrity, further confirming to feminine the value and the strength of this partnership. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you're finding this within yourself. That something about the circumstances around you right now Again, not necessarily being easy, but the unification of the feminine energy in terms of your long-term aspirations and goals, and navigating those and utilizing those as the priority point is further giving you the confidence and the integrity going forward. While for masculine and feminine energy working through partnership right now, this is more feminine and masculine wanting to observe this. Feminine's asking masculine to do something difficult. Making a choice, showing them that they're the priority, to see the masculine energy hold to a degree or level that they're standing in their integrity. Masculine, this is a moment you feel like you are standing in your integrity. This is why we have to be a little cautious today for the energy that's going through this, because masculine is effectively saying to feminine, I am standing in my integrity. I already did. I told you what I told you everything. I put my cards on the table. Are you going to meet me there? So again, two different energies asking for two different things, mirroring each other. So if you're working to come into partnership right now, give what you're getting, get what you're giving. If you want something, give it. If you want to get something, give it. For masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, this is much more difficult. Feminine energy is, again, this is the catharsis point that feminine energy is telling themselves as they move forward from this point. Because feminine energy is basically saying, this is giving you a lot of like, I would do anything but that. Feminine energy desires the affection. They desire the love from masculine. But they're not willing to do anything for it. Feminine energy is maintaining that they need to focus on the fact that they recognize that the masculine energy must be in their integrity. Because if the masculine energy cannot stand in their integrity, then feminine energy is basically abandoning themselves for the sake of the masculine. They're abandoning their aspirations, their goals for the sake of the masculine. That the masculine that is standing in their integrity would never ask the feminine to compromise those things. They would want to unify with them. It would not be a push-pull. It would be a joint endeavor. For the feminine that's doing this right now, it is this point of catharsis that's helping them steer and continue forward on their path, even through the immediate discomfort. And even leaving the door for the masculine energy to come forward in this capacity, but not necessarily chasing after it. Masculine right now, if you're in separation, this is that moment that you are doing a lot of this internal journeying. Because again, for the energy right now that chose their own autonomy versus coming into union and partnership, there's a moment right now that feels somewhat confusing for you because you didn't choose it for anything you immediately have. You may even be finding yourself at this moment right now where you recognize you let something go that was of value to you. And now you're struggling about what to do about it. And it's making you ask yourself like what it is that you're truly seeking. And you're going back and forth so that you can move forward with integrity. And you're recognizing this about yourself. And you're looking at these things differently. And it's building that sense, this deeper sense of confidence at this time. Because it's helping you understand like what it is that truly matters to you. And what you're going to do and how you're going to stand to like defend that in a positive way. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now, if this is energy that you're trying to go back towards, this is that point of understanding. This is potentially even a moment right now that, again, you're being kind of forced to do something that would be hard in the present moment, but would ultimately allow you to achieve and seek your long-term goal. And this is that moment that is also confirming your own ability to do so, and it's empowering you in the process. It's creating this sense of integrity. It's helping you grow in the process of this as you do so, because it's helping you really identify what it is that truly matters to you in this moment, even if it's difficult. Even if it creates, we're seeing a momentary upset. Continuing to clarify between our Five of Swords in its reversal and our Four of Cups. So beautiful moment right now, because again, for all energies at play, what we're really seeing here is again a point of past investigation, open-ended situations from the past that are explored, but all to take new approaches going forward. For all energies at play. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with the Hermit, which we love, okay? We love to see this because the Hermit right now is really speaking about a moment or opportunity of taking some of this internal journey, of going into this internal work and doing this stuff for oneself, but all for a sense of deeper understanding, that inner understanding that we're effectively trying to seek right now, okay? Now, for partnered energies, this is beautiful because this is some of that joy in solitude that we were effectively hoping to see over the last few weeks coming into like the energetic field now. Masculine and feminine energy right now. This point is almost like creating a sense. What I need to stress for a lot of the energy right now, this is about those past circumstances and situations coming into play, because the space and place that the partnership gives you right now gives you a better sense of understanding on them. It helps you see them in a different way. It's shedding light on things. So this could even be right now a moment of contemplation that's happening in partnership that's allowing you to take new points going forward, but through mutual discussion and addressing of circumstances from the past with the light that the partnership provides to them. While for masculine and feminine energy that's moving into partnership at this time, this is that point that we are identifying and recognizing. That again, if you're moving into partnership, this is that insight that you're trying to get. Masculine and feminine are watching one another to try to see the choices that they are making in this moment to decide if this is going to be a new path forward or if these are old cycles that are repeating. This is why I say if you're moving in partnership right now, be very careful on how you're moving. Make sure that you're doing what you want the other one to do, because there's a lot of this like watching that's effectively occurring. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, this is that moment that feels so potentially, again, isolation, but solace and understanding and knowledge coming from that point of solitude. We like this. This is that cathartic point that we're reaching for feminines particularly, because for feminine, what we're really seeing at this time is, again, a moment or opportunity where, again, you're looking at the past experiences. You're assessing them. You're potentially doing a lot of that inner journeying right now on situations and circumstances from the past, feminine. But again, it's recognizing the pattern. You're doing it to see the pattern. You're seeing the pattern in something that you may have done on multiple occasions in the past. And it's this confirmation to yourself and saying to yourself, I am going to not repeat a pattern. I'm going to take a different approach that is allowing you this moment of finding the catharsis in solitude. Because for the feminine right now, it's moving into that point of solitude that is allowing for that point of catharsis to happen. While for masculine energy that is working right now in solitude or again in separation, what we're really seeing is, again, a moment, two different sides of this masculine energy right now. This is either masculine energy that chose their autonomy beyond a partnership opportunity. And even now, there's a moment that this is feeling like a lot of internal exploration within you, masculine, because it is asking you, you're looking at your own cycles. You're potentially even seeing for the first time how this is not the first time you have done this. To really ask yourself what it is that you are moving towards right now. You're trying to shed light on what that purpose is that you're holding to a degree this level or point of autonomy on right now. To help it guide your way. You're looking for that light within. While for the other part of the masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you're potentially looking at some past situation. If this is something that you're trying to move into divine union right now with a feminine that you recognize is now not as accessible as they used to be, this is that moment that you're looking at your own past behavior. You're looking at your own cycles. You're asking yourself, what can I do right now that's going to do something different? That's going to allow something different, because there may even be something around this right now, or you even recognize, masculine, that it isn't just as easy as you going back to this energy, because you may have even done that before. It's about the fact of having to recognize what the work is. having to do this point of ascerning and ascertaining the fact that you understand what divine union is. And that's the point that is creating this space or place right now, because it's not necessarily that you're going back to something. It's that you're trying to articulate that you want something completely different now. And that's taking a lot of internal work for you, masculine, as you try to understand how to do that within. Because it requires you to show the fact. It's almost like you have to show that energy that you've done this internal work, that you've reached this level. And it was hard because you hadn't been at this level before, and now you're at this level and you're going, oh dear God, I'm at this level now. How do I communicate this to them? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Four of Cups in combination with our King of Swords. So for masculine and feminine energy in partnership right now, this is like just feeling good, because this is, again, new approaches, having like new opportunities, new ways of viewing things, new possibilities opening up. Feminine, again, not really a lot of activity today, just considering options and possibilities, potentially even in partnership right now. Feminine, you're feeling the strength and support of integrity of masculine that leaves you open and available to feel like you have this freedom to like put your brain in these spaces and places. For masculine right now, you're also feeling that. You're feeling that support around you that's further encouraging you to feel like you are working right now to carve out space to like allow for these like new possibilities and opportunities within the partnership itself. In partnership or moving into partnership right now, this is feminine and masculine looking at each other saying, are you going to do something different? Are you going to show me that you have this capacity to do something different? Or are you going to repeat a cycle from the past that I've seen and experienced? Masculine, it's requiring you to stand in integrity. Feminine, it's requiring you to open up to masculine that feels like they're standing in integrity. While for masculine and feminine separation right now, this is very difficult because, again, this is feminine energy looking at past situations and circumstances and recognizing that maybe they feel like they never had masculine energy and integrity. This is feminine energy fixating and focusing on this and holding this as the manifestation goal, which is helping them through a moment of uncertainty and doubt. While for the masculine energy and separation right now, this is going to feel very difficult because this is feeling like a lot of this personal internal work that's happening. For the masculine energy choosing autonomy, this is asking you now, you're forcing yourself to say, what is it that I am trying to stay in this vibration for? Where is this stoicism coming from? What is it? Why is this? Why am I doing this? What am I hoping to achieve? It's not just the fact that you're maintaining a stoic vibration. It's requiring you to ask yourself why. Well, for the masculine energy right now that is utilizing this as a moment of coming into integrity, wanting to move into divine union, this is this moment that you're recognizing that the only way to be able to do this is having to articulate and identify to the energy around you. This could be that light bulb moment that you're realizing. You're like, I have to let them know and recognize that I see my own pattern. I need to let them know that I see it too, so that they recognize that I have changed. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with it's requiring an act of surrender. It's requiring an act of surrender. Now, for the partnered energies right now, this surrender is point of easement. This is more of that easement energy that we're seeing in surrender in like partnership right now. Masculine energy and feminine energy in partnership. It's like, this is that moment that's allowing for some of this easement to come in. Because again, what are we seeing? We said that for the partnered energies, you're letting go of things for the sake of other things. There's almost like, again, a shedding that's happening again, moving away from things that feel like they're blockages, all for the possibility and opportunity of what you're creating in partnership at this time that feels so important, feels so valuable, feels so supportive. Masculine's getting a lot of strength here for this. Feminine, you're feeling a lot of strength on the part of the masculine as you work to create this in unison right now. For masculine and feminine energy that is working to come into partnership, this is the compromise. This is that moment that you're looking at the other one and saying, you need to show me that you can do this in order for us to come into partnership. Masculine's looking at feminine and saying, open up to me. Match me where I am. Give me what you asked me to give you. Feminine is looking at masculine saying, I need you to release some of these outside energies. I need you to take some action around these right now. Both energies are looking to the other one to do this right now. Heavy, heavy mirroring. If you're moving into partnership, I'm going to say it again, be very conscientious that you move the way you want someone else to move, because this could go the other way. It's going to take compromise here. It's not going to feel comfortable. You have to do hard things right now, but for deeper victory. While for masculine and feminine in separation, this is going to feel very hard. This is going to be very hard because the feminine right now, you are recognizing your own pattern. It's not even a pattern you want to leave, but you're holding firm to the fact that you want to move into divine union, and you want to have a masculine energy around you that stands in their integrity in the process. And it is that moment that, again, feminine is surrendering. But the surrender is effectively coming right now in surrendering their immediate desire and need potentially for the sake of moving towards masculine that stands in their integrity. And that's the point. And I need to stress for some of the feminine right now, today could be a very triggering day. You may feel the need or call to go back to some circumstances or situations because the weight of this is so great. Because what feminine is effectively having to balance right now is, again, trying to move in a vibration of repeating a cycle that's requiring a point of surrender from one's highest purpose or what it is that you're truly seeking. Or recognizing a cycle and letting go, releasing the connection to a masculine energy that isn't in that vibration, holding firm to the manifestation of a masculine energy that stands in their integrity, that doesn't effectively make you have to compromise your own priority in the relationship in order to be with them. Wow. For masculine in separation right now. So again, this is very heavy energy for the feminine. So make sure that you focus on what it is that you're truly trying to manifest right now. Okay? While for masculine right now that is in separation, this is that point of internal crisis that is occurring. For the part of the masculine energy that was moving right now, that chose their autonomy over coming into the opportunity of union at this time, this is that moment that you are at least recognizing and seeing that you're doing this. And it is creating a moment of deeper understanding of the self. Because what we're really identifying is, again, it's not just the fact that you chose your own stoic path at this time. It's recognizing and seeing the cycle that may have developed, that you've done this in the past before. And you are effectively asking yourself, what are you doing this for? What are you doing this for? Because again, the act of stoicism almost makes you feel to a certain extent that there would be a reason you are being so stoic. And this is requiring you to effectively ask yourself, what is it that is requiring? And in a way, the masculine doing this is saying, what would create a circumstance wherein I would sacrifice my own autonomy? Having to ask yourself that question right now is the moment right now, masculine, that we see as creating this point of internal surrender, because it's helping you understand the self better. If you're moving forward in this vibration right now, it's almost becoming a spiritual journey now, or an existential one, depending on how you look at it. While for masculine, and this may even be a moment that some masculines are now conceding and understanding and saying that that's not something that they want, that they would prefer to move into divine union. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now, this is that moment that we see that you are looking right now. You recognize that you want to move in divine union. You've come into this point of understanding the self right now, that you potentially desire this. The problem is that what you desire, you are recognizing is going to require you to be in a space and state of surrender to achieve it. Because what we're really seeing here is you recognize that the only way to come back into that is to stand in your integrity in a way that you haven't stood before towards that energy. But the problem sometimes with having to stand in your integrity is you have to surrender. Right? That sometimes integrity requires a degree of surrender. And that is the difficulty for the masculine going through this right now, because it is requiring you to have to be very vulnerable to prove to that energy that you're coming through with integrity this time. Final card for today's spread. between our Hermit energy in combination with our Ace of Swords. So for all energy today, we like this. It is feeling very cathartic today. It is feeling like a little bit of a lazy energy, but again, there's some of this heaviness here, but again, it is productive because we see here there are moments right now of surrender that are leading to deeper understanding, right? It's almost like the surrenders right now, the things that are being shed are lighting the way in terms of what is of value. Partnered energies right now, this is finding the comfort in solitude in the partnership that is almost helping you continue to like move away from things that you don't necessarily feel like are of, this is going to feel more like less things that feel like they're important to you. You know, it's just creating right now this like moment that like you're almost just identifying like the setbacks don't feel like there's big setbacks because the partnership itself creates its own source of light. And there's security and comfort in that. Masculine energy moving into partnership right now. This is that moment that you're observing each other to see if you're willing to concede in this fashion. That's giving you the clarity as to whether there's going to be a divine partnership possibility here or not. While for the energies right now that are in separation, this is the hardest work right now because again, for feminine, this is feeling the desire or need to surrender to something very heavily today. But trying to maintain a point of solitude to light your own path right now, even as you come into the surrender. And I will stress for some of the feminine right now, this could be that moment that you kind of like surrender to your own, I need to stress this. This could be a moment right now where the feeling or the need to surrender to your own desire is going to feel like a bit of a contest to what you feel is kind of best for you in the long run. So a bit of this very challenging space right now, potentially for some of the feminine energy and separation right now. While for the masculine energy and separation, this is that internal work that's happening. Because again, this is a masculine energy that is having to effectively look, if you made the choice to preserve your own autonomy at all costs, you're asking yourself why. And it's requiring almost immediate trigger into deeper work. Deeper internal exploration and understanding of the self through recognizing why you did not want to surrender your own autonomy. For masculine energy right now that's trying to move into divine union or partnership, this is something that you are recognizing that you are going to have to surrender to. And you're trying to pay a lot of attention in terms of how you move forward with intentionality as you do so, because you're seeing something in a way that you haven't seen it before. But it's hard because it's like you recognize that you have to shed light on something to the feminine energy in order to come back into partnership. You have to show them that you've learned something in the space and span of distance and solitude, and it feels like a bit of surrender to do so. Final card for today's spread is Knight of Wands in its reversal. So this makes a lot of sense, actually. All right. Masculine and feminine energy that's in partnership right now. Again, masculine, you're just at this point right now where like the masculine's just like going through this moment where you're not really feeling super creative, inspired. You're taking some like point of easement today. Feminine's potentially seeing this on the part of the masculine, that masculine's like, whatever happened this week, masculine just needs this like respite, you know? I think the hardest part for feminine right now is the fact that like the masculine energy feels like at a point of a distance, but I don't even feel like the feminine's taking it that personally right now. We're almost seeing like the feminine recognizes in partnership why the masculine needs this. It's almost like feminine sees the fact that masculine needs a little downtime. Feminine is kind of doing that and giving it to them, is what we're seeing. Feminine energy is almost okay with that because feminine energy is enjoying the comfort of their own solitude as well. Masculine, feminine energy moving into partnership at this time. What we're really seeing is, again, this is very funny if you're moving into partnership, because feminine energy is looking at masculine and being like, I need you to make sure that I matter more than your libido does. I need to know that I matter more than your libido does, so you need to show me that I matter more than your libido does. And that's where the masculine is potentially feeling some frustration right now, because this is some of the blockage that's effectively occurring. Masculine's looking at feminine right now and is effectively saying, I need you to shed light on things if you want me to do that. I need you to shed light on things if you want me to do that. And so this is that back and forth that we're seeing between these two energies, asking for things to be conceded on the other person in order to move forward. Energies right now in separation, this is the hardest part. Because again, feminine energy is effectively confirming, effectively right now, and this is the problem. This is the moment of observation of feminine recognizing right now that is so painful, which is if feminine energy feels like they go back to masculine in this way, it would be feminine conceding that they're going back to a masculine where they don't feel there's any possibility of divine union. This is why it's so hard for the feminine in this vibration right now, because this is a feminine energy that recognizes to come towards masculine in this way would have to effectively diminish masculine in the eyes of the feminine, because feminine would effectively be saying, I'm not coming to you for divine union right now. There's only one thing I'm coming to you for, because you've given every indication that you don't want divine union with me. The problem that is creating such a crux for the feminine that's in separation right now is the fact that in order to move back towards masculine in this way would not only be a devaluation of the feminine's desire. The only way that feminine could do that is feminine would have to devalue the masculine. Because feminine would have to concede and say, I'm only coming to you to fulfill passion, because you have already devalued me by telling me that you do not desire union with me. So this is a feminine energy that is effectively, potentially, even now, trying to maintain their own sense of solitude, because it's creating almost an impossible situation for feminine, which is if this masculine doesn't come towards me, then I am devaluing myself by going towards them, and thereby I have to devalue them by default. Creates like a paradox, creates like a devaluation paradox. This is why the feminine can't turn towards a masculine in this capacity right now. Or if they do, it's going to shift the relationship, because feminine energy is effectively conceding to the masculine and saying, I'm not here for partnership, I'm just here for one thing. Masculine, if you are in separation from feminine right now and this happens, you at least now can understand why you are also feeling like this, because you are effectively seeing this as well. For the masculine energy right now that's effectively seeing this right now, you are recognizing potentially that you are putting yourself in this vibration. That by creating this space or place, you are potentially recognizing right now masculine. And this is if you're in separation, this could be some of that deeper work that you're doing on your own healing. You may be recognizing right now, masculine, that the more that you hold on to your own sense of autonomy, the more that you effectively become devalued on the part of the feminine, because you're effectively asking feminine energy to make space for you in their life, but only from the space of the passion center. And this is making you effectively see yourself from the perspective of the feminine that you are asking them to do in that vibration, which is also allowing you a deeper understanding of the self at this time. May even be requiring a moment of deep contemplation as you surrender to the fact that you are effectively asking the feminine energy around you to maintain and to hold you in this vibration, which is in a way now looking more difficult because it's a mirror that you can see upon yourself. While for the other part of the masculine collective right now that is effectively navigating this space or place, and you are moving right now into divine partnership, this is that moment that we are effectively identifying and recognizing that you yourself are having this moment that is feeling like such a point of frustration, because you are effectively potentially understanding right now that you are trying to move towards a feminine energy that you left in a space or place when you were still in this lower vibration. That you're now recognizing you're having to show this energy. You're recognizing that if you want to move towards a feminine energy right now, that you now recognize and realize you desire divine union with, that you may have not necessarily been ready in the past. This is having to convince that energy that you have grown, that you see things, that you understand, and that you're no longer in this vibration. That you understand the difference now. and you're ready to surrender that modality. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is Hangman in its reversal. This is feeling like some heavy energy right now, my friends. It's heavy. There's a need right now for easement. The partnered energies right now are creating that sense of easement. They're just moving away from anything that's feeling like too much, like anything that's causing too much like struggle or frustration for the partnered energies right now. They're just like, forget it. Don't need it. Don't want it. Because they've got the partnership. They're like, whatever, you know? For masculine and feminine energy that is moving into partnership right now, this is that point of looking and being like, are you going to make this easier going forward? Or are we going to continue in this difficulty? It's requiring a change. It's requiring an intentionality in terms of looking at something and saying, are you ready to let something go to make it easier? While for the energies that are in separation right now, this is the completion of a cycle. This is completion of a cycle, and it's hard because it's removing yourself from a situation or circumstance that you may have been in for a long time that hurt. But it's also learning and taking the lesson that's allowing you that point of easement. But it can be hard even when we move away from that, because these are always bittersweet situations or circumstances. There was something of value in the difficulty. And this is that moment of taking the lesson and moving forward and trying to figure out how to, it's like the difficulty has surpassed the knowledge, which means that the lesson has completed itself, which means progress now must occur. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving it with me. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never inbox you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your DMs and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in these readings. And we will do this again tomorrow. Guys, it's heavy, but it's productive. I like it. We're going to take a minute to read